Hello everyone. Welcome to Clarity 16.3.3 Feature Supportability Training. This is Denise Saladay. And I will be covering the report scheduling topic. What is new in report scheduling this release? It's important to note that in all capabilities for reporting, we removed the beta tag. We also made some enhancements in the reports tile. We added a new reports library where you can view report output, and you can also see the filters that are used in each one of the reports. Additionally, for the reports that are generated, you can also look at the log details from the reports library, and we introduced some new global security rights for each tab in the reports tile. For scheduled reports, we've added the capability where report output from the schedules can be emailed to either internal or external resources. We also added a capability to add notifications on whether your report schedule was a success or a failure. And we also made some enhancement to the reports tab that we'll take a look at later. And we made some changes too to report sharing. And last, for all of reporting, we made some improvements to filtering attributes that are based on lookups, and we also added some capability where the isEmpty and the isNotEmpty filters actually supported for some of the lookups that where it wasn't working in the past. In my demonstration, the first thing that we're going to take a look at is the new reports library, and we'll see the filters that were used during each report run and any log information for the status of each report run. Then we'll take a look at the new global security rights that we introduced in the reports tab. We'll also look at some scheduling capabilities where you can email output for reports to external and internal users, and you can also send notifications of the report run status, whether the report was successful or failed. We'll take a look at that. And we're also going to review the enhancements to the scheduled reports tab that we made this release. And then next, we'll explore some of the changes that we made in report sharing. And last, we will take a look at the improvements that we made for filtering lookups in reporting. Under the reports tile, we have a new tab here called Reports Library. This is where users will be able to see their reports as long as they have the proper security rights. And in order to view this new Reports Library tab, a user will also need the new global security right. The reports here are stored in Clarity's internal document file store. And if you share a report with the user, it'll appear here in their library. Additionally, the report scheduler creator will automatically have access to the report in their library. And whenever you email scheduled report output, if you configure your schedule accordingly, those users will also be able to access the report here. And when you notify for success and failure of reports for schedules, those users will also have access to the report here in the library. And whenever users export reports, they'll also be able to see them here in the library. And users can download their reports by clicking on the download icon here. Additionally, in the details flyout, under download, they could also click the link here for their report and download it here. Their reports will appear here in the grid in the order of the finish date in descending order. And the grid here for the library has the same capabilities as all of our other common grids components within Clarity. And these are the columns that are available to display within this grid. Users can view the filters that were used to generate their report by clicking on the name and navigating into the Filter tab. You can see that I have a filter here applied for this particular report run. Users can also view the logs from this particular report run. You can see when the report started, that it was completed successfully. These two tabs here, the filter and the logs, appear from the report schedule modal, and it is only for read-only access. Another way that we can view the logs from the report generation is if you open the Details panel, you can navigate to the Logs tab and you can see the same information here. In reporting, under the Reports tile, we introduced 3 new global security rights for each tab within this tile. There's one for available reports, scheduled reports, and the new reports library. And if we navigate into Classic, we'll take a look at these rights here that are new within global security. And this is the one that was existing to access the tile. And as you can see, we have one for the Available Reports tab, the Reports Library, and the Scheduled Reports tab. For scheduled reports, schedulers now have the capability where they can send email reports to both internal and external users. And to do that, you just open up the schedule modal and notice that we have a new tab here called Email. You just type in any email address, and if there's more than one, you separate them by commas. And if you want to send any CCs or BCs, you would just click on those buttons and type in those email addresses accordingly. Of course, the CC and BCCs is an optional field, but if you want to send an email, the To field is required. The subject and message is optional for your emails, but here I've typed in that there's a report available, and I've also typed in to the message, which will show up in the email message, and the subject, of course, will show up as the email subject. But I typed in that there's a report that's attached, and they can click on the link below to access the report in the reports library. Because there's 2 options whenever you send the email for the attachments and how to deliver this report. I could click one or the other, or I could click both. And the first option is to send the report as an attachment, and the second option is to send a link in the email body to the report within the reports library. As you would expect, to be able to view a report in the reports library, you would need to have Clarity credentials as well as the correct security rights. Here is an example of the email that the user would receive based on that report schedule configuration. Note that the subject appears here that I populated, Report Available Investment KPIs, and the emails from Clarity, you've received a new report, And the body is whatever I typed in the message for the report schedule. Your investment KPIs report is attached, and click on the link below to access the report in the reports library. And if you scroll down here, you can see that the report is attached, and to download it, I would just click on the download icon within my email. Additionally, if I have the correct access rights, I could view this report within the library by clicking on the View Reports Library button. And this is my report. Currently, we do not have a template in Classic to control the format of your emails for reports. But again, you could type in any subject or message that you want to send for your email. And in this example, I had both the report as an attachment and as the report's library link. Report schedulers will now have the capability to notify users whether a specific report schedule succeeded or failed. And they can do so in the report schedule modal. So if we open up the modal, notice that we added a new tab called Notify. By default, the report schedule is notified and populated by default. You can see that Ian appears here. And the Notify on Completion list is blank by default. And I manually added Ian to notify on completion of this report schedule. And you can add as many people as you like to either one of those notification lists. And you can even add a security group. This is an optional capability. So I don't have to notify anybody on success or failure, and I can remove them just by clicking on the trash can accordingly. And there are no additional security rights needed to implement this capability. How each user is notified for the report status is controlled in their user settings. These settings apply to both successes and failures. And if I look at Ian's settings, notice that we have a new functional area called Report Run Status. This will control how he's notified for successes and report failures. And I have the alerts, the email, and the SMS checked for him by default. These notification settings can also be viewed and maintained within Classic. Under Notifications tab, you can see Report Run Status. And these options here will always be kept in sync between Modern and Classic for any user. In Classic, we added 2 notification templates so that you can control the format for your notification emails for report success and failures. There's a template for report completions and another one for report failures, and they're primarily the same. Let's take a look at the completion template. Notice that this is what we're showing in the subject by default. And in the body, we're showing the report's name, who ran it, the run ID, and the job ID. And also, we're including a link to the report in the reports library. For failures, we're showing a lot of the similar information. The report failed in the name of the report, and the fact that it failed, and the report name, run by, run ID, job ID, and the failure message, as well as the report link in the reports library. Because I am notifying Ian whenever this report schedule completes, we'll take a look next at the notifications that he receives. Because he has alerts configured, if you navigate to his bell notification, you can see that the scheduled report is completed. And if you click on this bell notification, you'll be navigated to that reports tab here in the reports library. And we don't have the capability to navigate you to the specific report, but you'll be navigated to the tab. He'll also receive a notification under Organizer. And you can see here that this report has run successfully. And there's also a link here to view the report in the Reports Library tab. Here is the email notification that Ian would receive once the scheduled report completed successfully. You can see that it says scheduled report completed in the name of the report. And you received a new notification. It was completed after 1 second. And it has the report information. And he can click on the link here to view the report in their reports library. And in the library, you can see that the report is, the status of it is completed. We made a number of enhancements in the reports tile to the scheduled reports tab. First, we added the details flyout. We also changed the way that the status displays in the grid. Instead of straight text, we've added the tags. And we've changed the attributes that display by default in this grid. We added the format, the language, locale, date display, unit of measure, the shared to users and shared to group attributes. We also made the language, locale, and unit of measure attributes editable in this grid. And last, we added a new attribute to the scheduled report object called job ID, which you could optionally display in your grid. We made some changes to scheduled report sharing. If I open up this particular report schedule, notice that I am sharing with Cheryl Amos. Last release, even though the schedule creator did not show in the list here of shared users for the report, they would automatically get a bell notification for the report sharing. And we made a change to this behavior here. The report scheduler will no longer receive a bell notification for report sharing unless they manually add themselves to the Share tab in the report schedule. But they will automatically receive access to the report in their reports library. So if I impersonate the user whom I shared this report with, Cheryl Amos, I'm logged in as her now, notice that she does receive a bell notification that this report investments KPI has been shared with her. And she can click on this to download the report. And we changed the format of this bell notification a little, and we're just stating that it's a shared report. These shared report notifications are not controlled by any user settings. If the shared user has access to Clarity and the reports library, they can also view their shared reports in the library. You can see that I'm still logged in and impersonating as Cheryl Amos. And she can download this report by clicking on the download icon here. It's important to note that email sharing notifications will no longer be sent to any user, including the report scheduler. We made an improvement in reporting whenever you're filtering attributes that are based on lookups. And we did this because we wanted to leverage some of the native Clarity lookup definitions for static, dependent, and dynamic lookups, which is all lookups. We wanted to leverage those capabilities that are in Clarity also in reporting. Remember that all of the data inside reporting comes from the data warehouse. And the change we made to leverage those capabilities for lookups is whenever you're in reporting, whether it's in data providers, report designer, report scheduling, or just viewing reports, and you're using a lookup filters. So in this case, I have an example. This is the only place that we're going back and retrieving this lookup data and the metadata about this lookup from the Clarity transactional system. Otherwise, everything in reporting is still against the data warehouse. And if we take a look at this example of this lookup from the filter I just showed you, some of the things that we're able to leverage is from the query. We have security clauses here and any special items that you have on the Clarity side for this lookup. We're able to actually use that in reporting. We can also leverage some of the language translations for the lookup and the default sort orders. You can see that this particular one has a sort order of ascending. If there were any filters for this lookup, that would also be used in reporting. And last, we're also able to leverage the auto suggest capabilities that we have for the lookup. We also added support for some lookups for the is empty and is not empty, so that this will actually work now. So whenever you select is empty and you're looking, I'm filtering on manager, you can see here that I'm actually able to retrieve those projects where the manager is now empty. Last release, this wasn't supported, and you can also now do the is not empty. That will work now as well. And this concludes the report scheduling section in supportability training. Thank you. Thank you.